Well, interestingly, I met a young man when I was in grade school. Uh, Name was Ronnie Wilkerson. He lived behind our house, and he and I used to play together, exchange comic books, trade comic books, Superman for Batman, that sort of thing. And I was in the sixth grade at the time, and there was one day he was not his usual self. He was kind of glum. And he said, I've got cysts on my kidneys. My mom has them. My grandma had them. Being in the sixth grade, I didn't know what a cyst was, and sort of put it aside, never thought too much about it. A few years later, in high school, we came in from football practice, went to the latrine to urinate, and all of a sudden I saw this bright red blood coming down the stream. I looked over there, it was Ronnie passing this blood. What is going on? Oh, just those cysts. They pop every now and then. This will go on for a day or two. Don't worry about it, Jared. It'll be fine. Well, when you see blood coming out of people, it gives you an impression you don't forget. And I've never forgotten that. We stayed friends all through high school. I went off to college and medical school. And a few years after coming back to Kansas City, I was doing research in a kidney laboratory. And I was working on fundamental questions like, how do the kidneys make urine? And we had succeeded in taking apart the kidney in the little bits and pieces. And I made a seminal discovery that the kidney tubules could not only absorb fluid, but they could secrete fluid. That is, they could put water back in to the stream flow. And that was like discovering water could run uphill. It was a really, really important moment in my life. And it was a scientifically important moment because it had never been thought of before for the kidney. Later that night or in the morning, I can't remember exactly when, Ronnie Wilkerson sort of popped into my head because I knew he had polycystic kidney disease, and I had seen polycystic kidneys in pathology when I was a medical student. So I knew what they were, and I knew they were sacs of fluid in the kidney. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Hey, maybe that's the way that fluid gets into cysts. Then I began to collect patients who had PKD, and I got to know a number of these wonderful people who had this uncertain future that they were looking at. And so that sort of added to the passion. And one day I was visited by a reporter who came into the laboratory looking for a story. She said, I hear you're doing some interesting research, Dr. Crampton. I'd like for you to tell me about it if you have time. Come on over, sure. So I poured out my heart to her. I told her that PKD was unknown to most people. It was a terrible disease. Nothing was being done about it. Anyway, I told her the whole story and what it was all about and what needed to be done. And she left. She said, I'll write you a good story. Finally, the story shows up on the 44th page of the A section of the Kansas City Star. And Joe Bruning, who lived down State Line, read it. His wife had PKD and was on dialysis. He had been looking desperately for anyone interested in PKD research. He was really in despair, and then all of a sudden there's this guy not far from where he was who said he was interested in PKD. So he wrote me a letter. Said he had sold some property and he wanted to think about doing something to help, research PKD. So we got together. The long and the short of it is, after about 6 months, we put together the Polycystic Kidney Research Foundation, 1982, and it's evolved now to the Polycystic Kidney Disease Foundation, and it has international roots. So it all began with Ronnie Wilkerson and his polycystic kidneys. Sadly, he didn't experience the wonders that are around today. Dialysis is much improved, and kidney transplants give you a new life, So Unfortunately, that did not happen. But he did leave a lasting monument to his life, and that is, he got me interested in polycystic kidneys. I was able to persuade a few other people in this world to get interested as well.